Eagles universe was good. We're not even going to go through all that today. It's a celebration. We are NFC champions as well as NFC East champions. We are the ones. Everyone else is the twos. Took a while to accomplish, but it happened. Doesn't matter who we played. Still had to go out there against other NFL caliber professional athletes and play football, and that's what we did. We got the much needed, much coveted bye. We're going to talk about a lot of that today. But I just want everybody to take a breath, relax, and enjoy the fact that we are the ones. You know, sometimes it gets overlooked. We talk about, what happened in the game, who did this, who said what, how such and such looked, how this person felt. Bask in this. We have a free week. Enjoy it. But come Sunday, actually Saturday, it's time to start scouting the teams that we could possibly be playing. We'll get into that as well. But just one quick thing I want everybody to remember, and I'm going to bring my host on. We said from week one, our goal was to be the number one seed. Step one in the bigger picture. Step one's complete. Home field advantage for as long as we last until the Super Bowl. That's big. That's important. If y'all remember, this is eerily similar to a certain blessed season in 2017. So keep that in mind. And with that, we're going to get to things. Wyatt, what's good, man?
Not too much, man. How you doing? It's another week, another, great week to talk about some winning Eagles football. And like you said, it's a great time to relax and kind of reflect on what's happened over the course of this very long season. So I'm sure we're having a lot to talk about tonight.
Yes, sir. And Eagles Diva was good.
Gang, what's good? Just happy to be here, number one. Bye week.
Always. And lastly, but not leastly, Miss Swoop.
What's going on, everybody? We are the number one seed, just like we predicted. So let's enjoy it and just relax in it for a while before the next game.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we have our first comment here. Good evening, folks. Hashtag Fly Eagles Fly. Snowman. What is good, brother?
King
happy birthday to Swoop's dad.
Happy birthday.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Papa Swoop. We appreciate you watching.
Thank you so much. Happy birthday, Dad. I know he's watching. My parents watch even when I'm sick and I'm not on the podcast. They do. They watch all you guys. So happy birthday, Dad. Hi, Mom.
Absolutely. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're there. It's playoff time. But, of course, we got to start off with our breaking Philadelphia Eagles news. What you got for us today, Mr. Wyatt? Without the glasses, by the way, so you know he means business.
Another week of talking Eagles and just more records being broke, man. It's at the very end of the season. We got A.J. Brown. We knew it was probably going to happen, but he's officially like an all-time Eagle now. He's going down in the record books as he broke the record for most receiving yards in a season in franchise history. He broke Mike Quick's record. He's got 1,000. The Mike Quick record was 14,000. Jesus Christ, I'm fucking up. 1,409. But AJ, he was close. He almost got to 1,500 yards. I think he was only like 6 yards short. He said that was his goal, was 1,500, and he felt like he left a little bit out there on the field. But there's always next year. But I mean, the first season in Philly, and you're going out here and breaking a franchise record. I mean, that's huge.
I could not agree with you anymore. Want to highlight here, we got a couple of happy birthdays for Papa Swoop.
Papa Swoop,
right?
Papa Swoop.
So want to throw those back up there.
Mm-hmm.
King DV, AJ and Devontae broke records. Very true.
Yep.
And another happy birthday, Papa Swoop.
Thanks, King.
For sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean that's going into my next point with Devontae. He set the franchise record for most receptions by a wide receiver.
Mhm.
So, and not only that, they both fell in the top 10 as far as receiving yards. So we have 2 receivers in the top 10 in the league as far as receiving yards, which is amazing. And they say Jalen Hurts, he don't have an arm.
Well, you know they
Can't
also
throw,
said
man.
Preston Smith wasn't gonna make it because of his size. And what happened? Oh, I'll wait. Y'all say what again? Oh, okay.
It's crazy.
man.
And it's only his second season. Devontae out here doing what he's doing. And I mean, just like AJ said in a couple of interviews after the game, it's like these guys are going to be here for a long time. So we're going to be seeing this for some years to come.
And I think someone, I won't call any names, but someone said I think AJ's going to have the yards because big, explosive, but Devontae will have the catches because he runs Chris routes. He gets all over the field, smaller body, so he's not going to be able to break as many tackles. But hey, we see how that turned out. Someone who felt like they made some right choices in the preseason here. Philly asked, they said Jalen Hurts was hurting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you my take on this, and I could be completely wrong. But I think this is hogwash. I think what they're doing is trying to make it seem like, oh, yeah, he's still feeling some pain because that can justify why he didn't play those 2 games. I don't think he's really hurting. He might be some soreness after, going out and throwing in the game and not having thrown for multiple weeks. But, I mean, I'm not really buying the whole, he was really hurting after the game, but he toughed through it. I mean, he finished the game. He completed the game he got hurt in. So that's just that's just my thoughts on it. Doesn't mean it's right. Coach Dante, what's going up, my guy? Appreciate you hopping on and checking us out as well. But yeah, I'm not really feeling that he's really hurt thing. I think it's more like, maybe some soreness because, like I said, you haven't used those muscles to the extent you did during the game before. But I'm not buying the whole he's hurt and all that. I could be wrong, but yeah, I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I think it was like WIP or one of those other media outlets that were kind of blowing up, because there's no real story really this week as far as Eagles. I mean, what are they going to talk about? I definitely think he is sore. I think that's going to happen, coming from that injury. I don't think he's 100%, but really who is at this point in the NFL season? But I mean, we have 2 weeks now for him to rest up and get better. I mean, it also didn't help that he threw like 40 times in that game, but I feel like that's
way too much
because they were trying to get that rust off of him. They were trying to warm that arm up a little bit. But I mean, we'll get into the game eventually, but I'm sure he's going to be a little bit sore. I mean, at this point, but that's why we were fighting for this bye week here to help give him an extra couple weeks to kind of heal up, get better. And he's going to be in a better spot than he was in this last game.
Hey, Jalen, I just got one thing for you, bro. Ice up, son.
Yeah, we need you.
Yeah, get in that cold tub. But the other record I actually have here for breaking news is Eagles set the franchise record for most points in a season. So we out here doing our thing, and most wins in a franchise history with 14. So I mean, this season it exceeded expectations tremendously. And I mean, it's looking like this is an Eagle team we have never even seen before in the history of the franchise.
So the scrub, appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. We'll take that, man. We'll take that. But yeah, man. I'm just happy we're where we're at, man. We kind of touched on this already, but we'll slide over the injuries as well. But before we do, just happy, man. Just because relieved, happy and relieved because we started out the gate real strong. Hurts got hurt, lost a couple of games. We kind of had that negative juju bouncing around, but then we got us one, heading into the playoffs, took care of business, got that number 1 seed again, got that, that bye. So really excited. Next week is going to be very pivotal for me for injuries because we'll be discussing one Lane Johnson. But for now, I'm not going to take my man Sean. Any updates for injuries, Wyatt?
I actually didn't really have too much on the injury front. Their expectations are they're expecting Avonte Maddox to be back for the playoff game. I mean, it's been real quiet, but sources are saying that they're very hopeful that Avonte Maddox will be back. Same with Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat was pushing to play against the Giants, but they just didn't feel comfortable putting him out there at that time. But it seems like those guys are going to be ready to go. I feel like the more questionable one is Avonte Maddox. CJ GJ played every snap in that Giants game, so he's going to be good to go regardless. And it's looking like we're going to be entering the postseason here relatively healthy, knock on wood. But I mean, Lane Johnson, he's healing up, he's icing up, getting ready. Just hoping that shoulder is good. That's the main real concern here.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, King DV, we'll go ahead. We kind of had it on the docket for a little bit later, but we'll go ahead and get into it. It's all good. We do have a couple All Pros. Lane Johnson, your boy Big Play Slay, and Jason Kelce. And I do agree the best team in the NFL should have more than 3 people, but you know how that goes. It's all pro.
Yeah.
There's a lot
I think
of
that was
guys
the player voted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was like the player voted all pro.
Yeah, it might have been a little bit of hate. Just a little bit of hate.
Not
a lot,
all good.
just a little bit.
We'll see what happens when the NFL league voted, between the executives and everything. We'll see how that one shapes up.
Absolutely. And Johnny says that Brady is going to smash Dallas Monday night.
Bro, I could see it. Playoff Brady.
Thanks, Giovanni.
Also with a swoop to Papa. I will a happy birthday to Papa Swoop. I was about to say a swoop to Papa birthday. No one was happy.
Birthday. He started me on this journey.
But yeah, man. So yeah, pretty much not a lot going on the injury front, which never a bad thing.
No.
I hope some of those things are correct. Obviously, we'll get more of an update next week once we had a bye week. Everybody gets a chance to go through, a little bit of more treatment and show us what they got. But ladies and gentlemen, purposefully this time, waited a few minutes to give you something. But now that we've got through a little bit of the show, let's get it.
The kick is away, and the kick it's good! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
I felt that was the perfect place to place it right before we talk about the clinch game. Love it.
Is there?
All right, so we'll start with you, Miss Swoop. Talk to us about your thoughts on the clinch game. Since this is not a player thing, you don't have to worry about you taking out the player, so we'll let you go first.
No, I know I go last on player pariah. I'm already used to that. Let me say first, we're the number 1 seed in the NFC. The Birds, 18 weeks. I had to yell it. I was jumping on the couch, jumping on the coffee table. That's a whole nother thing. I thought the game was much better than I expected. I didn't get the same reaction from family and other friends, but I had a different take on it. I like the fact that Jalen Hurts showed up at the link and a Michael Jordan t-shirt that said, "I'm back. When are you going to retire from the Bulls?" I thought that was great. He threw for 229 yards on that right shoulder that I have the same opinion that y'all have. I'm sure it still stings a little bit, but he didn't play like it was really hurting him. So that's just my opinion on it. They played a very conservative game, which I was very happy that they did. I got other opinions from people that said, "Oh, we have a lot of things to fix." Even my mom called and said, "Well, I'm worried about him after the way they played against the Giants." I said, you have to understand, they were playing so that no one, especially Jalen, gets hurt in that game. So they played conservative. All they needed was a win. 1-point win, 20-point win, it didn't matter. They didn't need to kill themselves in order to get this win. I personally didn't want that playing at 100%. We don't need Jalen to get hurt or anybody else to get hurt going into this playoff now first. So play callers, I'm going to give it to you this week. You played it right in that respect. All we needed was to win. The Giants were already locked in as the number 6 seed. So they were playing their B team. So we didn't need to go the whole rest of the way. I mean, the Eagles won without scrambles that turned into 20 explosive plays. We didn't need any of that this week. So I know that some diehard fans like us expect that 100% and that slaughter every week, especially against the Giants. Well, we did that before to them. So, but again, we're going into the playoffs. We don't need Jalen to be hurt. I didn't want him running the ball. I didn't want any push quarterback sneaks. I mean, I was just cringing. I'm glad that they didn't do it that way. I felt like when he just showed up, that was just the boost that the team was missing the last 2 weeks when we had, I already forgot his name, Minshew. Or they call him the jockstrap king, I've heard. I don't even want to know why.
I call him White Goodman, but hey.
What? I shouldn't even said that. And also, and if Wyatt, if you said this, I apologize. Didn't Jalen tie 35 touchdowns with Cunningham? And maybe you said it and it just...
I didn't say that, but that's
okay.
interesting, though.
Wow. You guys are usually ahead of me. Yeah, with I found it somewhere. Hold on a second. Hurts tied Randall Honeycamp's 35 touchdowns this season. Usually I'm the last one to know that. So I'm just glad that the Eagles played smartly. They played at half speed so that we wouldn't get another injury. No rushing plays for Jalen against the Giants. Like I said, I didn't want that. He spent most of the time in the pocket and didn't jeopardize our chances in the playoffs, especially with him or any other players. So I am happy that they played half speed, that they played conservative. That was smart. We just needed to win. We didn't need to play at 100% and just crush them by 20, 30, or I don't even remember how much points the last time we played them. So I'm happy the way that it turned out. Nobody got hurt. We won, and we're the number 1 seed.
Diva, what we got?
We could have played better.
Run the ball.
Still making the same mistakes that we've been making.
I know you're going to say it, so I'm going to go ahead and put Philly's comment back up there.
You already know. We ran the ball a lot more than we ran prior. And we did let everybody touch the ball because Boston Scott had 54 yards. Gainwell had 35. Sanders had 33. And then Jalen Hurts had 13. So we ran the ball way more than we ran it the week before. Happy a little bit, but it's not, I feel like still that ball should have just been ran down our throats. Jalen shouldn't have really been throwing. Like, run the ball. Like, just stick with the running game. And I'm just not understanding that. So that was a problem to me. Defense, they eventually adjusted, but it was still the soft zone that Gannon plays. I mean, you have your third string in there, and he shouldn't have got half of the yards he got. Like, it's a third string, y'all. So that was a little disappointing. I feel like we got to fix those areas. Like, those are areas that we have lacked in all season, and we have to fix those if we're going to be playing any AFC teams. So that's my take on the game. But we number 1, and I know we're going to go far, but we do got to fix those minor mistakes.
All right, Wyatt, all on you, big dog.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like the Arlington fans last year that act like they won a Super Bowl when they beat us with their starters and we had our third strings in. And
That's
I'm
all
not
they
going to
had.
go out and do that. It's hard to assess a game like this when you're obviously playing the very vanilla, like preseason type plays and an offense and defense. It just, I don't know. It's hard to judge based off of that, but I mean, they definitely could have ran more. Even with the kind of dumbed down offense, it seemed like we were moving the ball downfield pretty regularly. The only issue was getting in the end zone once you got to the red zone. I wish they maybe would have dialed up maybe a play or two for the red zone that maybe they would normally have in their playbook. That way we could get up on them a little more. That way you could have played the second string or third string in the back half of the game. Like, I feel like that's what they were trying to do, but I don't know. I feel like Jalen and a lot of the other starters, they should not have been in this game at the end of that third quarter going into the fourth quarter. This should have easily, been a blowout, and the Giants were all for it. It seemed like the Giants were just handing it to us. Like, go ahead. This is your win. You can have it. We just didn't really take advantage of that. I don't know if that's just because they didn't want to really show too much at the end of the season. Maybe they just didn't want to risk injury on huge plays. I don't know what the exact thought process was behind it. But the main thing was really getting Jalen out there and get some reps here going into the the postseason here with a couple weeks off. You don't want to have him like 3-4 weeks of just not getting any work. So it was good to get him in there. Of course, he's going to be a little sore. We already talked about that. I mean, I'm not going to complain too much about this game just because of the way they really went out in the game plan they had settled for this, against third stringers. So, I'm not going to, rip Jonathan Gannon or anybody like that right now. But you guys better be using these 2 weeks to prepare, because you know how slow Gannon adjusts. You cannot be doing that against any of these teams in the playoffs.
So I am not going to take the same approach as Wyatt. I still felt like we should have did a better job on defense. I do agree with running the ball, but I think defense, we should have did a better job. I did like, as Keaton DV brought up, that they had CJ, GJ in the slot. They're going to have to do that until we get Maddox back. If Maddox is able to play, then of course, he can go back to playing at safety, which puts Blankenship on the bench. But Blankenship has showed that he has a bright future, I think. But if you give me the choice between the two, I want CJ, GJ out there, because Blankenship dropped the interception. That was pretty simple interception that I think CJ, GJ would have ate up. But, it comes with time. It comes with learning. This is Blankenship's first couple of games playing, so he's done well. So no shade there at all. He did talk about the pick after the callback touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was
those are the things.
Throw.
Yeah, but those are the things you're gonna get from a guy who hasn't played in a couple of weeks in the middle of the season, when they're overusing his arm. Yeah, and not doing as Eagle Diva said, and turning around and handing the freaking ball off. And I gotta say, man, Boston Scott's a little guy, but that's a tough little guy.
Oh, he's tough.
The touchdown run, that's a tough little guy. I'd rather have him, if you're going to put someone else in the goal line of the backs that you use, than Gainwell. And this is not a knock on Gainwell, but I think Boston does at least provide you with some physicality. I don't think anybody's going to confuse Kenneth Gainwell with being a physical back. So, just a couple of things from the game. Obviously, very vanilla on the offense, but I think we should have relied on the run a little bit more. Everyone knows we're going to run the ball. That's not something you had to hide. You could have went ahead and executed that, because that's what we are supposed to be doing. The last 3 weeks, it's like we want everybody to forget so we can bring it out of the playoffs and be like, surprise! No, they're still going to remember it for 4 weeks ago. Trust me. They've got a lot of tape of that. But, overall, like everyone else has said, we got the dub. And the most important thing was the dub. The Giants, they put their backups out. But I will say this for their backups. They came to play. They didn't lay down. And they called that game like they were attempting to win it. There was just a talent difference.
Yeah. Minshew loses that game.
Oh, yeah.
If Hurts wasn't playing, Minshew loses that game.
Minshew gets rocked a few times, throws a couple of picks, probably fumbles the ball, gets cussed out by A.J. Brown. All kinds of things happen in Minshew plays. So, I definitely think we made the right decision to get Hurts out. He did need a little bit of work before the playoffs. He didn't need to sit for that long.
Yeah.
It was essentially been a month and then come out and try to be Chris for the playoffs. That wasn't going to be a good idea. So I think all in all, a lot of the right choices were made, even if I don't like them because I want to be more aggressive. I think he did make the right choices to try to protect everyone, to get them ready for, this hopefully 2017-esque playoff run. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yes.
So yeah, man, that was my thoughts on that. Did anybody else have any other thoughts before we move on? No,
not really, man.
Didn't seem like it, but I just wanted to at least,
make sure
give everybody a chance. Yeah. So we'll hop on over and talk a little just NFC, AFC playoff picture. The simplest way to do it is probably just to go over the playoff schedule. That way we can just kind of, we know who's got in where.
Count it down.
Yeah, sort of thing. Because, hey, being truthful, we know what it is. One of these teams, especially the NFC teams, we're going to play next week. And we'll talk about who we'll play in a few minutes as well. And these AFC teams we got to watch, because we're going to see who we should be meeting in that magical game that I won't name yet. But we'll start off Saturday night. Well, Saturday afternoon. But we'll have the Seattle Seahawks playing their division rival, the San Francisco 49ers. That's going to be 4:30 p.m.
Seahawks are one of the teams we could be facing.
Mhm.
It's going to be interesting, man. I mean, I think everybody's kind of expecting the 49ers to come out with that one, but you never know. Them Seahawks
never
are scrappy.
Yep.
Purdy has
And
been
don't forget,
showed
Purdy's
up.
somebody
gonna
didn't write
slip.
back.
Purdy's going to slip in one of these games.
Hey, somebody didn't write back. Just want y'all to remember that.
That was a dope line, man.
That was great. That was great. And then we have the Chargers versus the Jaguars. Going to the Jaguars. Of course, Chargers snuck in, got all of their weapons back. Defense hasn't really been what it should be all season, but they're there. And that says all it needs to be said.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting. And I think they might be out without Mike Williams, too. He got hurt in that game.
He shouldn't have been in, but yeah, he got hurt. But
Yeah.
Palmer should be able to step in. And then they still do have Keenan Allen, who should be pretty fresh because he's had a long break this season.
A pretty decent
Long
break. Yeah.
break.
Man, I'm still
Long
gonna
break.
be rooting for Dougie P though.
Yeah, in that one, man, I'd like to see Duval get right.
Duval.
So we'll see what happens with that. All right, then we've got the Tua Tagovailoa-less Dolphins at the Bills. Before
That
we go
dude
to the
rethinking
game,
his career right now.
yeah, before we go any further, I just want to say two great things. I'm glad Tua has been ruled out because you have a life outside of football. You
Mhm.
can still have a career, but you need to let your brain get right. You've had like 3 concussions. So definitely putting him on the field would be negligent in any situation.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't think he should have played after the one where he was throwing up gang signs on the ground. Like he should not have been back in the game after that.
Absolutely not.
You know,
Yeah.
and
That
then
was scary.
obviously that made you have another concussion, so that could be longer before you actually are able to play. And then for the Bills, Hamlin has been released, so he is able to now recuperate at home and with the Bills. This is like almost like a mini miracle, especially how fast this has progressed positively for him. So I'm very happy for him and his family, the Bills organization, all his friends throughout the league. I know Miles Sanders is a really good friend of his. They do a camp in the summer in the Pittsburgh area. So, man, I'm just happy to hear that he, is recovering.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be special, man, because they said that there's a possibility, they don't know for sure, like how, like gives me chills thinking about it. Like, man, he leads that team out onto the field for a playoff game. Like, he's not going to play, obviously, but if he goes out and leads them out of the tunnel, that's going to be amazing.
I thought that he was transferred to another hospital.
He was, but he was released.
Oh,
he was
okay.
Released today. Yeah, he's
Good.
at home now.
Good. Thank God they were right there when it happened. First responders. Thank God.
DV has the
And
Jags.
That's what I'm saying, man. Look out for them Jags.
Yeah, I agree with Team DV on that one too. And DeMar is blessed, bro. I agree on that 100%, man. I'm just happy that, like outside of
it's
football fan, just as a human being, I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, no QB should be getting that many concussions, man. Like, maybe it's just I have a bad memory when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I can't remember like any QB like getting that many concussions. Not only in just 1 year, but in general. Like, you don't really hear about QBs getting concussed very often, I feel like.
The last one I remember is Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman got
with a
blasted.
bunch of them.
Yeah, he had a bunch of. That's the last guy I can remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah, and that
Imagine how many he got.
Well.
Imagine how many he got if he played Pop Warner, high school, college. That anybody doesn't know about any player. We only know what we see.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know the other big one. I mean, the one that we witnessed was the Wentz one against the Seahawks. That dirty ass hit in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Playing NFL, you're 100% gonna get hurt.
Yep.
Some way, somehow.
Yeah. Hopefully Tua is going to be all right, though. They definitely, I mean, they introduced more protocols because of what happened with Tua and everything. So hopefully they started, taking this stuff a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, Mike McDaniel, man, I don't like the way you looked and responded and talked. I don't like your whole demeanor when you were talking about how the doctors didn't clear him. Did you think he was going to get cleared? Do you have a concussion? If you thought that?
Wait, what? This last time?
Yeah, Mike McDaniel's press conference. because he just announced today that Tua is not going to be able to play because he hasn't cleared protocol. His demeanor, his body language, his word usage. I was just like, bro, you really thought there was an opportunity this guy was to get back on the field after
was
having 3
hoping.
concussions in
Oh
one
my.
season? Something's wrong with your brain.
Yeah.
Things are bigger than football.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was just kind of weird.
That's just
and
because
then-
he has his backup against the wall now. He doesn't even have his backup. He's got to go to the
True.
third string for a playoff
Well, I mean,
game.
y'all do know he told him it was okay that he was bleeding from his ears, right? So
Yeah,
Wait,
somebody
what?
might need to look at McDaniel. He might be the perfect coach for Miami because he fits in well with Ross.
Oh, yeah, overlooking, doing some shady stuff.
I feel bad for
Exactly.
Tua.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the Giants.
Brian Flores ain't looking so crazy now.
He
No.
never was, in my opinion, but
No.
whole nother story.
Yeah.
We've got the Giants at the Vikings, another game that has one of the teams we could play in, the Giants.
Yeah. I feel like that's going to be a close one.
So this is
Really?
a 4:30 game, which means
Mhm.
it's a primetime game, which means if history serves us correctly, we're going to get primetime Kirk Cousins.
What's his
So the
nickname?
Giants have a good chance of winning.
Primetime Kirk.
Well, for this game, he's going to be primetime Kirk because this is in prime time. That's
Yeah.
not good Kirk.
Well, I mean, I feel like no matter what time you had the game, I feel like these Vikings could be had. And I mean, that you look at the last game that the Giants had with them, it came down to that field goal, I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, it depends on what Giants team you get too.
Yeah, it does.
Good point.
They'll be well rested.
Mhm.
And they may be able to go a little bit deeper, a little bit more confidence in some guys after seeing what they were able to do, as backups against our starters. So we'll see how that plans out
Yeah.
as well.
Should be a good one though.
Absolutely. And then we've got what I think is going to be probably one of the better games, if not the best game of the week. And that's that Sunday night game, the Ravens at the Bengals.
We'll see. It doesn't look like
If-
Lamar's going to be playing.
If Lamar can play. It doesn't look like it now, but he hasn't been ruled out. He just hasn't practiced yet. So if he
Yeah.
can go, I think this will be a really good game. If he can't, unless they're going to be able to just put an extra lineman in the tight end and just try to pound the ball in the throats, it's going to be more difficult. But yeah, it's a tale of it. Basically depends on if Lamar plays or not. But I think if he's able to play, this could be a really good game.
We'll see. I mean, even if he does play, man, he had a lot of time off. I feel like it's going to, especially for a playoff game, to come back and you have to play the best ball of the season. It's going to be hard, even if he does play, to especially beat the Bengals, who are really hot right now. They're hitting their stride.
Well, I would definitely agree with you, Wyatt, but I would also say, in all sincerity, he can't do any worse.
Oh, that's true. You're right. You're
When
right.
he was out, right?
Yeah.
He can't be any worse.
If he had a deal, he'd be playing. I bet. If he had that contract signed, I bet he'd be playing. But since there's no guarantee or anything, why risk it?
I think that's why.
Why risk it? Like, why go out
Yeah,
there
I
and
mean,
risk
I
putting
can't
yourself
argue with
or
that.
injuring yourself even further? Like, I don't blame him, man. It's so weird because there's really not much knowledge about what's going on with him.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. And then, of course, for the last game, we have the Monday night game, the Dallas
buddy.
Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We know why this is a Monday night game. Everybody that loves or hates the Cowboys, and Tom Brady could be his last game, at least his last game as a Buc if they lose. Are they going to really do something with Mike McCarthy if the Cowboys lose? Only time will tell, but we'll know
Who
something
hates Tom Brady?
by Monday. I do.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm not a big Tom Brady fan.
I hate him because he's
do.
so good.
I hate him because he's a
That's
cheater.
Well, he's a cheater, so he's
Yeah.
he's good, but they're
He
also
stole
cheaters.
a Super Bowl from us, and I will never forgive him for that.
And from other people as well.
Yeah, the Panthers, he stole one from them as well.
Ouch, sorry.
I'm taking the Bucks on that game, though. I think them Bucks gonna come out with the dub on that one.
You know, it's
in that
hard
game,
for
I'll
me.
take them.
I hate the Cowboys so much. I'm so biased that it's really hard for me to pick because I automatically want to pick anybody that plays Arlington. So I can't really pick on this because I'll automatically take Tampa. So
I don't know. I mean,
with
that
that-
team just has some continuity. They have playoff experience. They won a Super Bowl, a lot of those guys together. And then you got Mr. missed 5 games and still leads the league in interceptions. Dak Prescott over here, like especially with like it just they're in the wrong place. They entered choke season real early this year. They didn't wait until the playoffs. They waited in like the last couple weeks. I don't know, man. I mean, if the third string QB for the Commanders can go out here and do this, I mean, I think the Buccaneers can do it in Tampa.
I just want to say, man, you're throwing a lot of zingers out there, man. I love it, love it, love it. But yeah, I think it was Brady that cheated, but I think it was also the team that cheated. But Brady cheated as well, and I want everyone to understand that he's a cheater. Do not give him a pass for his cheating past.
It's a fun fact, King DV.
Well, you know, another fun
Very
fact.
interesting.
Derek Carr and Dak have the same amount of yards almost and interceptions. And I think Dak has more now that Derek Carr isn't playing.
And do not forget that his own receiver, Dakota Make It Rain Prescott's own receiver, the starting quarterback of the Arlington football team, Amari Cooper, called him the Black Kirk Cousins. Do not forget that. Don't let all these other things happen to make you forget what his own number one receiver, while still a part of the team, said about him. So just make sure you do not forget that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, they had. I think that was the first game of the season, though. Was Cowboys and Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers won that. That was a close one. We'll see what it looks like now going into the playoffs. 17 games later. So who knows what it's going to look like? But I think the Buccaneers going to come out with the dub on that one. We going to be getting that rematch I've been talking about, possibly.
Hey, he owns them. Brady's their daddy.
That's true. Never lost against them.
Yep. Let's get it.
Now, also, we'll go over to possible divisional round matchups. So, obviously, there's certain teams that we have an opportunity to possibly play, and there's teams that there's no way we're going to play right. It's just what it is. So, if Seattle beats San Francisco, we will be playing Seattle because Seattle is the 7. The way the playoffs work, for those of you who may have forgot, may not have known, or may be misguided by some of the tomfoolery you hear out here, the number 1 seed plays the lowest ranked seeded team that's left. So Seattle 7. So if they win, it's automatically Seattle. Okay. The next lowest seed, the 6th seed, would be the Minnesota New York Giants game. So if the Giants win and the Seahawks lose, then we will play the Giants. Okay. After that, it would be Dallas and Tampa Bay. So if Dallas wins, we play Tampa Bay if the Seahawks and the Giants lose. Now, if Tampa Bay wins and the Seahawks and the Giants lose, we'd be playing Tampa Bay. So if the Seahawks and the Giants lose, essentially we're playing the winner of the Tampa Bay-Dallas game. If the Seahawks or the Giants win, we play them. If the Giants win, we play them if the Seahawks lose. So basically, Seahawks are 7. So if they win, we're automatically playing them. If they lose, Giants win, we play them because the Giants are 6. If they both lose, we play the winner of the Dallas-Tampa Bay game. So we would not be playing San Francisco or Minnesota. Those are the 2 teams we would not be playing.
Yeah, you would have to see them in the conference championship.
Yep.
Who do you guys want to play in the NFC Championship, the Eagles? If you had to pick.
I'm going to let y'all go first.
It's interesting.
No way, Jose. I asked.
No, I'm going to let them go first.
I'm not. Go ahead, Wyatt. Start it off.
Or I'll go first if you want me to. I'll go first.
I mean, I can go. It's up to you guys.
No, go ahead. Wyatt.
I would say the Giants. If I had to pick one.
She said in the
conference championship,
NFC championship. Yeah, if you could pick a team for us to play, who would you pick? Why?
Minnesota. If I had to, had to pick one, I don't want to see the 49ers. That 49ers defense is really good. They have a solid O-line. It's matched up with pretty much with ours. Who knows? I mean, it's a system. So I mean, Brock Purdy or whoever's starting, we'll see. I mean, the defensive line we have, even though they've been very dominant, is going to be hard getting through that O-line of San Fran. That's going to be the toughest matchup out of anybody in the NFC, I think, is the 49ers. Vikings, we've seen them. We demolished them before. I feel like we would be able to do that again, especially with our defensive pressure. I feel like we'd be able to get pressure on Kirk Cousins and get him seeing ghosts, doing exactly what we did in that first matchup earlier this season. I like our chances better with Minnesota than the 49ers. And not only that, it would kind of line up with our old famous 2017 season a little bit there.
Go ahead, Diva.
Oh, I think I'll San Fran. I mean, because I feel like that matches up with us, and I feel like we need to see how we match up against a good team. So I would like to play San Fran.
I want the smoke. All of it. Every single drop. Give me San Fran, and let's give them the butt whooping they ain't got since they got Christian McCaffrey. I want the smoke. I want every single drop. San Francisco, you know what? Let's do it like this. Let me find it real quick.
He said, I gotta find it. She had it queued up.
San Francisco.
Just bring it, bitch!
That's what I got to say to y'all.
All right, Swoop.
Brock Purdy be running for his life.
Oh, I didn't even have an answer. The question just came to me. But if I have to pick, I didn't. I was just looking at the bracket and it just
Swoop.
Man.
I
Swoop.
can't lie. Come on, man.
Swoop, before you go, I got to say this to you.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Okay. Who I would pick, not based on who would be the best team. I always want to beat Dallas. So it's always going to be Arlington Cowgirls. Always. I always want to kick them out of it. Always. Okay, bring it.
What's up, BS3? What's going on, man?
BS3.
So I'll always pick Arlington. Always. So not because they're an even matchup like the Niners, but because nothing's better than beating the Cowgirls.
All I'm saying is NFC Championship game. I want to see the 49ers. I dream about that.
Me too.
I fantasize about that.
Now that
game.
doesn't have anything to do with your other co-host being a 49ers fan now, does it?
Oh, it would have a tad bit to do with that. But also, the main part of it is this. We've heard the last 10 weeks how the 49ers are great and McCaffrey was the missing piece and the Eagles ain't played nobody. So let's play somebody. And then when we beat them down, what else are you going to have to say?
Facts.
They'll always say something. I don't care. They'll
And I want
always
them to
say
keep
something.
talking. The more they talk,
Right.
the better we play.
Mhm.
Talk.
Mhm.
Then if we beat San Fran, because hey, we could lose. If we beat San Fran, you only beat San Fran because they had Mr. Irrelevant playing quarterback. The same dude that's been
Blah, blah,
swallowing his juices all week because
Yeah.
He's got these great stats because he's played like 3-4 games. Away.
Everyone trying to make him offensive like rookie of the year already.
Yeah.
For playing like
So
5
all I'm
games.
saying
Like,
is-
come on now.
Give us the smoke.
Yeah, well,
Give
we're the number
the
one
Philadelphia
seed.
Eagles
They're
the
not.
smoke.
So
Give the Eagles the smoke. They're supposed to be the best. Let's beat the supposed best. That's what I want in the NFC Championship game. If we get there. I will
Who
put
would
the
you wanna-
caveat if we get there.
Who you want to play next week between the 4 teams?
I don't even care.
It don't matter.
It does not matter to me, either one of those 4 teams. Whoever it is, all you need to know, whoever you are.
I wonder what the other NFC teams would want to play. I bet they're all picking the Eagles.
I bet they're not.
I bet they
Yeah.
are.
I bet they're not.
They always want to be the one to take down the king of the hill. So
They want the easy path.
They
to
want the
Super
easy
Bowl.
path. We're not the easy path.
Yeah.
then nobody's picking us.
Somebody wants us or the 49ers to lose so they can try to slide in. That's what they want.
That's we're off for 2 weeks, Alyssa.
Yeah, this weekend. Well, next week we're preparing for the game, but pretty much it's 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, we're off this week and then next week.
Mhm.
Well,
That'll be
technically
interesting.
last week, technically like this week, and then we play next week. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be preparing next week.
Yeah.
As soon as they know who they're playing.
So yeah, Give me the
Yeah.
smoke from whoever.
Well, they need to be preparing all that BS they've been doing through the season, first of all, and then you start preparing for the team.
Man, you're gonna be so disappointed if the Seahawks pull that upset.
Okay.
Hey, listen. You know who's going to be disappointed if the Seahawks pull the upset? The national media.
True.
That's who's going to be disappointed. Because their love story is going to be done.
Purdy can go out and throw 4 interceptions, and they're gonna still be talking about like, look what he did over the course of the season. They're gonna be lifting him up, even if he had a terrible game. You know how it is.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another topic: our regular season thoughts. So I'll open this up. We can go in whatever order you guys would like to go in. But just any thoughts you have on, weeks 1 through week 18 of the regular season for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I mean, we've had our bumps and bruises, but overall, we are a solid team. We're solid on the field and we're solid in the locker room. And I think being solid in the locker room is what's really important. I don't think people understand that having that relationship and that foundation amongst every player and coach in your team is what sets you up for success. It's not just going out there playing football on Sundays, but it's about having that connection, knowing that you can trust one another, knowing that everybody going to show up. And that is what I see in this team this year. I can't really think, even when Doug was there, even when we won the Super Bowl, it still seemed like something was off. But we still got it done. But this year, it just seems like we just out there having fun. Everybody's enjoying one another. And we've just really did what we were supposed to do this year. And I saw it coming. And so I just think that we just got to fix those mistakes of refusing to run the ball and, gaining soft D sometimes. But other than that, we've had a pretty good season, a really good season, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we exceeded expectations just like last year. I mean, last year was about building everything up, seeing if Jalen can be the guy. This year, it was like, can Jalen really take the next step? Like we made the playoffs last year. Let's try to go for a deep playoff run this year. Not only did we find out that Jalen took that next step, he is an elite quarterback in this league. This dude could be our franchise quarterback for years to come. And I mean, our predictions for the season, I had us going 12-5, and we added 2 more wins on top of that. And it's looking like we're going to be having a nice run here, hopefully. So, I mean, as of right now, I mean, we're sitting in a perfect spot. We're looking, I mean, a majority of this team is going to be here for years to come. I mean, I'm excited for the future of Philly. But as of right now, we got some job left to do in this postseason. But I mean, it exceeded expectations. I couldn't be happier with the way this season went. I mean, like you said, we've had some ups and downs, but this team has really shown they can come together to really overcome pretty much any obstacle, unless you lose your starting quarterback.
And that's because we didn't draft a good backup. That's
exactly. Or you didn't game plan for him either.
Or use a backup that actually fit a game plan that we were going to implement.
Yeah.
all the above.
Well, how good could we get a backup quarterback compared to Jalen Hurts? I mean, it's always going to be the backup quarterback. I mean, even though he's not a franchise quarterback, he is the franchise quarterback. I don't have a whole lot to add because you all said it already. So I'll piggyback off you. I mean, Diva, you brought up a terrific point. The locker room. They got that emotional boost this past Sunday from Jalen when he showed up. There was a certain baseball team that did that this year and ended up in the World Series when they got different leadership, and it just seems to come together, and it seems to come together with Jalen that way. Our regular season, I have 0 complaints. We are the number 1 seed. We won 14 games. Maybe I wasn't happy with play callers for 3 games, but the play callers called 14 good games. So I always try to look at the other side. So we are where we are for a reason. It wasn't dumb luck. It wasn't anything else. That's how we ended up where we are. That's why we're the number 1 seed, because we are that good. Haters going to hate. I don't care. So I expect them to go even farther after this. I do not expect to be knocked out in the 1st or 2nd or even 3rd round. So we have what it takes to go all the way. I don't care what anybody else says.
Just want to talk about a few individuals on the offensive side of the ball. Would like to talk about Jalen Alexander Hurts, Arthur Juan Brown Sr., as well as Devontae Smith. Didn't find Devontae's middle name. I think he's keeping it hidden. Right. He's not out there to find his middle name like the other
he
guys
embarrassed
are.
about that middle name.
Yeah, he don't like that middle name. But those three guys, what they were able to do offensively with the passing game is something that we may not see. There's only one other duo, and that's the duo in Miami that's even been close. Or actually, I would say they're ranked a little bit higher, so a little bit better as far as yards, but to do what they did with the season that they've had. Very impressed by that. And also, I would be 100% remiss if I did not mention Miles Adam Sanders as well.
All new
okay.
names.
We talked about that at the beginning of the season and how important this was for him.
Yes. All right, so we'll get Philly like, love, and share. We'll go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen McCain, family, what's going on, sir?
What up,
Yeah.
Mr. McCain?
And I wanted to mention, because we didn't mention earlier, that they announced today Jake Elliott won Special Teams Player of the Week for the NFC.
He did.
So
Come on, that's who I had.
9 out of the 18 weeks of this season, the Eagles have had a Player of the Week, which is more than anybody, which is crazy.
You can't go without saying thank you, Howie. You did your job this time, Howie. Big ups to Howie.
I gotta give props to
That's
Howie, man.
big coming
Howie.
from Diva, Howie.
He did it.
Yeah.
Howie, you can, for now, stop by after the cookout and get a pre-prepared plate, and you can
Wrapped in
ask for what
tinfoil.
you want on the plate. You can't come to the cookout yet, but you can stop by after the cookout, and you can get a plate of things that you request. I can't guarantee portions, but you can get a plate of what you would suggest.
Howie, that's huge. Trust me.
We gonna need another big off season. This off season with all the free agents we have.
I'm not a Howie fan. Never have been.
I am not. Yeah, I've never been a. I like what he does numbers wise. Draft has always been the area where I've been very negative on Howie. So he did have a turnaround this year, but I still cannot shake the ghost, the specter of the Jalen Reagor draft.
You can.
I can't.
Now you got to let it go. Now's the time with the records that Devontae and
only
AJ set.
way-
Now's the time you can do
Let
it.
it go.
The
And
only
Nelson
way
Aguilar,
that I can
don't
let it
forget that
go
either.
is if we climb to the highest pinnacle this season. That is the only way I can let it go.
Highest mountaintop.
If we go to the top of Mount Everest, then I can let it go. Possibly.
Remember he said that.
Philly says I'll come to the cookout.
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
think
surprised Howie
that,
got
man.
invited.
we'll talk about it, once the season's more, finishing up and everything. But we're looking at a big off season as well. So he's got a lot of work to do, not just as far as going out and trying to find some talent, but we have a ton of free agents on this roster and a limited amount of money. We're not going to be able to keep everybody we want. So look for a bunch of different ways. He's tweaking some contracts, moving some money around, bringing some guys in. We might lose some guys we want to keep. So, I mean, we're looking at a different off season here. But we got some good draft picks to use too.
And we may be looking at getting either a defensive or I'll do offensive coordinators next year.
Yeah, I was going to say that
both
too.
of these guys may not be here.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of speculation is Jonathan Gannon is the guy for the Texans job.
Shane Steichen's also being eyed for the Texans and some other teams as well.
And the Colts. The Colts,
Yeah.
I've read were heavy on him as well.
Yeah. Sirianni says he has some plans in place though. So he was asked about what would happen if they ended up leaving, and he says he has some plans in place. He says he's looking at guys inside, and he's also gonna keep his eyes, his ears to the ground, and look for some outside hires as well if that happens.
Vic Fangio was inside, just in case y'all want
Does that
to,
depend on whether the Eagles win the Super Bowl or not when you said that?
I feel like no matter what,
No matter
I feel
what,
like
probably.
one or both probably gonna go.
Probably.
I hope it's Gannon.
these
I'd like to have a fresh thought on defense. I've said several times, and this is not because I just want him gone, but I think he's a better head coach than a coordinator. Some guys are more built to be a coordinator, and some guys are more built to be a head coach. I think you have to come up through the ranks, right? So you have to do certain positions. You have to be a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator before you're going to become a head coach. But I think he's a head coach guy. So I think he's definitely going to be moving on. And I would not be upset.
Vic Fangio would be cool. As far as offense, I saw that the Jets fired Mike LaFleur, and he was kind of the scapegoat for them. So I mean, Mike LaFleur, he'd be decent to bring in as an OC. I wouldn't mind that.
Right, reunion wouldn't be bad.
Frank
either.
Reich. I mean, that's definitely. I'm sure that's the dude Sirianni had in mind. I'm sure.
Or Hackett wouldn't be a bad offensive coordinator. I think that's where he should be, and not as a head coach.
Yeah.
So some options out there. But we'll start with you, Swoop. Any final thoughts?
Believe it or not, I actually don't have any final thoughts. Actually, no, wait, I take that back. Jake Elliott just did so well Sunday, and I didn't say it. With all the field goals he made, I have to say, he's like the most consistent one on the whole team. You can always depend on Jake Elliott for it. And I didn't say it before, and I should have. So
that's important, too. You never know when you're going to need a game winner or, some field goals that matter in the playoffs. And to get a kicker like that warmed up at the very end of the season, it's a good thing to have.
Right. Outside of a quarterback, come on. He the most important. Doesn't always seem like sometimes it comes down to a kick, a field goal. A lot of the times, whether it's tie or win or whatever it is. So he did an outstanding job on Sunday, and I forgot to mention that. So,
yeah, I just want to say real quick, Philly, if we do win the Super Bowl, I will be at that parade. That is for sure.
I'll be at the parade too.
We'll all be at that parade.
Absolutely. Wyatt, any final thoughts from you, sir?
I'm feeling good, man. I mean, with the way the game went on Sunday, just enjoying this week, just sitting back, watching these other teams fight for another spot in the playoffs. It's nice. We haven't got to sit back and enjoy the bye week like this in a couple of years. So, I'm just kind of soaking it all in. Going to watch the games this weekend, kind of do some scouting for the show next week. And then I'm very eager to see who we're going to be playing next week. That way we can do a full breakdown and hopefully go out here and do what we need to do. Finish business like we have been all season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Diva, what you got?
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Hashtag be elite.
Well put.
Elite.
So for every game, players, coaches, fans of every team, I want you all to remember this.
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we're the
We are the cream.
With that being said, we appreciate everyone in the comments. Special shout out to our man King DV as well as Philly and everyone in the comments. Again, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday, Papa Swoop.
Birthday.
Absolutely.
New name,
With
Papa
that,
Swoop.
ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be ending the show for the night. But always remember, hashtag be elite. As Eagles Diva put so eloquently, fly, Eagles, fly.
Subscribe
We're
and
the
like.
ones. They're all the twos. Subscribe and like. And we got one last comment here from Philly. Definitely see you next week.
See you next week, Philly.
Good one, y'all.
Playoffs.
Playoffs. Here we go. Let's go.
Number one.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
The kick is away, and the kick it's good! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.